Ignore the tattoo! Nathan unfortunately reads a series of unfortunate events at an unfortunate age, which in this case is being used to indicate that he is entirely too old to be reading this for the first time. Welcome to Woeful Wednesdays. This is Nathan reads a series of unfortunate events. Ignore the tattoo. That somehow is the entire title for this series. So this is an announcement video. My name is Nathan.
And I'm Tyler.
So this is inspired by Stripped Cover Lit, which is a great booktube channel. In case you have not heard of them before, then you should absolutely check out their content. And basically, you've got two different guys on Stripped Cover Lit, Adrian and Dalton, and they've done a couple different versions of this series already. So they started with Adrian Reed's Harry Potter, and so basically. They're two guys who are now adults and they're educated, and Dalton read Harry Potter, the entire Harry Potter series, when he was, I believe, the appropriate age for reading it. Like, maybe not appropriate, but the target age for reading the series.
Yeah.
And then Adrian had not read it when he was younger. And so he's reading it for the first time. And basically, they broke that up into different chapters, and then they would post these videos where they have this discussion. And so one person who's got an affinity for the series, who read it at the right time, and then the other one who does not necessarily have this background with it and is not really the target age or audience, and he's reading it for the first time, and then the discussion that comes from that. So they've done that, and then the Hunger Games series, and I believe they're now working on Twilight. So I really enjoy those videos, and I've been thinking, like, how can I do something like this? Because I love the concept behind this. So I have not read a series of unfortunate events. I was too old for the series when it was first published. Like, I was 15 years old when the first book came out. That's way past the appropriate age to start reading the series, right? And I'm not saying like it's inappropriate for adults to read the series, but it's just I wasn't the target age for it. But Tyler, you have read the entire series. Can you give me a little bit of a background on when you started reading it?
Yeah, I probably started reading them, I believe when I was in grade 7, somewhere around there. Um, and yeah, even because I got invested into the series, then throughout high school, I would always go to the library and just look to see if there was a new book.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so I have read all 13 of the original novels, or I guess
They're novels.
novellas. Yeah,
They're
novels.
novels. Yeah.
And yeah, as well as I did see the Jim Carrey film based upon the first 3 books. Um, and I did also watch the entire Netflix series, which just wrapped up a little while ago. So,
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen the Netflix series. I know basically nothing about this series whatsoever, aside from knowing that it's very, very popular. So there are 13 books in total. They were first published, like the first one came out in 1999, and with all 13 of them, it spanned 1999 to 2006. And the estimate is that they've sold at least 65 million copies, is from a very quick bit of research that I've done so far. That's what I found as far as a number. So obviously incredibly popular. The way we're going to structure this is that we're going to break each book up into 3 different parts. So we're going to read chapters 1 to 4 one week. The next week we'll read chapters 5 to 8, and then the next week we'll read chapters 9 to 13. And we're going to do this for all 13 books. So that ends up being 3 videos for each book. 13 books, so that is going to be 39 weeks of videos on this. So it's going to be going on for a while, and we're going to be releasing them on Wednesdays. So that's where we're getting the title, Woeful Wednesdays, and this is Nathan Reads a series of unfortunate events. And you're telling me that Ignore the Tattoo is going to start making more sense as I continue reading this series, right?
yes,
Okay.
it will.
Okay.
I
Because
know it doesn't seem like it makes any sense right now, but it really will.
all right. So, because, and this is just a little bit of a background on myself. So, I am an author. My first book, my debut novel, is called Orphans of Liberty, and I've got a couple short stories published, which is in part where my BookTube channel came from. I'm also an English professor. So I teach at a junior college right now, and I've got 3 degrees in English: a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education, and Master of Arts. So I teach literature for a living, but I can tell you that like these books are not really in my wheelhouse. This is not really what I typically read, but I think that it still works for it. On my actual on this channel, then you'll see that I've got Ignore the Bell podcast, where typically it's Tyler and I, and occasionally my cousin Luke, like our cousin Luke, will jump in because we're brothers, by the way. Then Luke will come onto the podcast as well. And we mostly discuss film and television because you and I both have studied that extensively at university. And so we've got Ignore the Bell discussions where we just completely ignore the bell. Basically, the conceit behind this is that in the classroom, the bell goes, and I typically want to keep going, but it's over and everybody leaves and I want to keep talking. And so this provides me an opportunity to just completely ignore that and say, well, that would have been a class period, but we're going to just keep going. So if you're interested, you can watch those videos. And then I also do BookTube videos as well, including a series on Repairman Jack, which is an adult sci-fi urban mercenary series. So I've got a whole bunch of content on the channel, in other words. And we're now doing Twilight Zone Tuesdays as well. So
yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Watching classic episodes of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, so a lot of fun stuff on the channel, and it really is so much fun to have these discussions. Sometimes then, we get really, in the weeds about some things. We get heated about some things, and yeah, we have a lot of passion. So
we do, yeah.
Hopefully, you guys will enjoy that.
Right. All right, folks. Well, feel free to follow along with this series, and I hope that you enjoy this. And I'm going to take a fairly critical eye towards the series because that's kind of what I do with literature. And I can also say, because these books are not really in my wheelhouse, I don't know how I'm going to respond to them. I genuinely don't. But we already know that one of us really likes them. So if you're saying, I don't want to watch them unless they're going to praise them, at least one of us is going to praise them. And one of us is probably going to be a bit more critical.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed the series. Bye.
Bye.
Ignore the tattoo. A phrase here which means like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast across the web. That may seem like a strange definition, but in this context, it is entirely accurate.